Hello, friends and listeners. Welcome back to another episode of Party XP. I'm your host, Lakan, and joined once again is my friend Jeff. Say hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
This is going to be a bit of a different episode. I've just came back from PAX, and I want to talk a little bit about conventions in general. We just did an episode on a little bit more focused on what I actually did at the PAX convention that this past weekend, this last weekend, and me and Jeff already covered the games that I've went out and tried, and the developers I've gotten a chance to talk to, and all this other stuff, and like the boost that I got to go see some cool shit, right? So in general, I just want to talk about how I go about like attending conventions, right? So a little personal history here. I started going to New York Comic Con is like my main convention that I go to, and I started going to that around 2013, 2014 or so. And I've basically been going every year except for 1 year where like I couldn't get off for work. But I've been going to that essentially every year, obviously not including the pandemic years as well too. But I go to PAX, go to NYCC, and then I have also started going to Anime NYC twice now, and I've gone to PAX twice now. What about you?
Pretty much just NYCC, but then like there's a lot of the these like little indie ones, like these street art conventions and urban art ones that I tend to go to, but definitely NYCC. And it's kind of funny that you started going in 2013 because I think I started going in 2014.
Oh, really?
And then been there like you said. Kind of like a lot. Yeah, well, I mean, we've gone together several times.
Yeah. We've definitely done like the meetup in New York type of deal, or as of late, as we've gotten older, we've done the I'll go to your house more often because you're the one closer to New York, right?
Yep.
And we'll drive in or ride in together depending on how we feel that day.
Especially like if you're, you have to like lug some stuff for cosplay or whatever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's funny because like I think about it now, right? When we were younger, we would put up with way more bullshit than like we would nowadays. You know what I mean? Like now it's like as we're older, we're like, I'm not dealing with this. Let's just go ahead and make this as easy for ourselves as possible.
You mean like going onto the bus with like 2 huge bags full of Funko Pops and other stuff?
Exactly.
Yeah, or walk through the city with these huge bags and then go on the bus with the huge bags. I remember one year going back home on the bus and it was fully packed, so it was standing room only. So I'm standing there with these 2 massive bags and trying not to fall on top of people. So
yeah, you feel a little rude for eating up all the space too. You know what I mean?
Well, that and I just didn't want them to mess with my the
your
boxes.
stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's that, and it's also like, hey, sorry, I'm one person, but I take up the space of 3 people just because I'm carrying these massive things that I'm bringing back from a convention.
Exactly.
I feel rude a little bit as well.
A little bit.
That's
yeah.
fair. Let's get a little bit into, I guess, like, so again, we've talked about very short, right? We talked about what conventions we have attended, right? If again, for you, it's mostly NYCC, right? Yep. And some smaller stuff. There's some local conventions around here now too in Jersey that are smaller, right? There's a pretty big one still in Atlantic City. There's what is it? I think it's like not KotakuCon, but it's like something else. There's one in Edison, which is kind of cool because it used to be at Middlesex County College, I think it was. And I think it got bigger, so like I think it's renting like a larger space. There's still a relatively small convention, but it's cool that there's more stuff here now.
Yep.
But New York Comic Con, Anime NYC, those are both in the Javits Center in New York, right? And obviously going to the city in general is like a trip. You know what I mean? Like everyone has their own like way of navigating those types of trips. And then PAX is obviously even bigger because I have to travel for that. My friend, he's been to Emerald City Comic Con, if I remember correctly. Anything else? I don't know if he went to Indie PopCon.
Ooh,
that's one in Indianapolis, right? Yeah, that's Indie PopCon. So he's been to those two, and obviously those are even more of a trip because you're flying out to actually go see those things.
Yeah.
Which is cool if that's your scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm absolutely sure that if I was more into more typical comic conventions, I'd be more interested in going myself. But just for me, it's like I don't like flying. I'm big. I don't like getting onto the plane and shoving myself into a tiny seat for 5 hours.
Or more,
exactly. If I have to, it happens, right? For me, like I'd rather deal with like a 5-hour drive because at least I'm in my car.
Yeah.
And then especially once I get out of the convention, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. Plus, like you can stop off to pee, get some food. There's some cool scenery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'd rather do that, and I can travel myself to the city myself afterward. Preparing for conventions, I guess. How do you go about them, right? So let's go with like New York Comic Con because that's a common ground we share here, right? Early on, it's always getting the tickets. That's the first bit, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, you are basically you get my ticket for the last like 5 years now. I think for the last like 7 years now, essentially you've bought my ticket for me because I don't want to deal with it anymore.
Yep.
And luckily for you, you're usually free the day they're going up, right? For the most part.
Oh, dude.
So what's the process like for those days? Because I know they're rough.
Oh, it's rougher than it was before because now you can have the fan and super fan tier. So that's actually been really helpful. But previously, you have to spot out time, and it got to the point where I was using one of those taskers to like, you know, sign onto the website right away, exactly at the time, and then sometimes it would click too early. But before that, like I'd have a clock and then have it tick down, and then right on the dot, you got to sign on, and then you join the virtual queue, which is just you're sitting there for whenever.
Yeah, that's been a shit show for the last couple of years for New York Comic Con specifically.
Oh yeah.
Because I've also tried to do some of the the pop Funko pop figure stuff. You know,
Yep.
the pre-sale or the exclusive side sale of like New York Comic Con exclusives,
Yeah.
which is annoying. I've done that stuff, and it's such a pain to get into.
Oh no,
It is
it
such
really
a pain
is.
to deal with.
Yeah, I hate it with a passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So usually you get into the queue before I do.
Mm-hmm.
So then so you're in the virtual line, you're waiting for essentially your ticket to be called, your number to be called.
Yep.
And then I'm assuming it's like a regular checkout process after that, right?
Well, up until recently, because then when you have to sign up for the the extra panels or whatever not, or to join the lotteries of things, that's when it got pretty rough the past couple of years, because then you have to sign up for it, and if there's an opening, cool. And it's kind of like when you're checking out for an item, virtual checkout for buying something. Like if it's taken already and you don't know by the time you get the checkout, you got to start all the way from ordering again, and it's just painful that way. So yeah, it's gotten both better and worse, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I know that they separated some things, right? They separated the signings for the stuff now, the autographs.
Yep.
The panels. They've made that like a separate tab now before.
Yep.
Then before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the thing you're talking about. Then they've changed it up how they process stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So before it used to be all in one shot.
Yep. All in one shot, and
Sounds
then
absolutely terrible.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the year pre-pandemic. The year actually pre-pandemic, I think, was ideal, where you kind of just join the lottery, and then it's perfectly random, and then you really can't blame anyone because, there's no time-based, element there, checking out, things like that. It's just, random chance. And if you get it, you get it. Cool. If you don't, you don't, and it's fair. So.
Yeah, I mean, kind of fair, right? Because
Kind
it
of
also depends on like who happens to be off that day. They happen to be on their home internet that day, which is usually faster than your phone.
Really? Because I've actually found it the other way around.
Really?
Where if
You got unlucky on your phone more than recent.
Yep.
Okay, cool. That's surprising because like for me, I try to always go for phone stuff and I always get unlucky.
Yeah.
I usually get most of my like quote unquote wins on like when I'm on my home internet.
Interesting.
Yeah, because obviously there's people who like our friends who do like the Supreme stuff or like the drop stuff, and they're always at home.
Yeah.
They do that stuff. So like, I always just assumed that like my home internet would be better than using my phone.
And it's funny because I tried that, and then I actually did an experiment for the past 2 or 3 years where I have actually 2 phones, my computer, a tablet, and tried to sign on, and then I'd say, was it 2 out of 3 times the phone would get there first.
Oh, that's cool.
Right?
It's a nice little tidbit, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so we get the badges / tickets for the convention, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the whole fan verification thing. I have to give you my information so you can make sure that you're able to pass the badge along to me, right?
Exactly.
And then usually for like you and me, you and me just chill in general, right?
Yep.
But there was a little point where you and me got split up a little bit in terms of like our like scheduling, I guess if we want to call it that, right?
Yep.
Where like so like usually like 2 months before the convention, before New York Comic Con, we'll meet up somewhere. We'll usually grab a bite, right? We'll usually grab a bite to eat.
Yeah.
Chill for a bit, and it's like a handoff of the badge, right? There's that, and then we usually don't really see each other until like the convention day again.
Oh, actually, yeah, you forgot to mention the time in between, because right after getting the badges, then we start talking about, we're going to cosplay, we're going to do this, we're going to prepare.
Oh yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the whole like excitement like phase of like, what are we doing this year? Are we doing a group thing? Are we doing everything separately? Do you have plans already made up for this year?
Yeah.
Which for me, I've started cosplaying. Was like 2016, 2017? Maybe I started cosplaying.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because the first couple of years I was just attending, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'll just go in, comfy sneakers, jeans, shirt, whatever, right, and just kind of enjoy myself, just being a nerd for the day, right?
Yeah. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, exactly. Just enjoy this thing that you happen to enjoy, and then you realize, I'm not the only person who likes this thing. You know what I mean? Especially comics. Like nerd culture is so big now that everyone just kind of enjoys it, right? I mean, even if we go outside of like New York Comic Con, I went to like a car show a couple years ago, right? I was with the Stash House guys.
Oh, nice.
And I was helping vend for them. It was just like a fun thing. It was just cool to be like in Atlantic City, Got to see a couple cool cars, some really cool, like, some really stanced out, like, weird cars, right? I saw this dude with a Nissan Sentra. And
Oh,
yes, like stance, like slammed to the ground, really cool, really good wrap job.
nice.
And like guy had a bunch of customizations done to his engine. It was super cool. Like a car you wouldn't think of being like a really street ready type of vehicle, right?
Right, yeah. Like if you're gonna race rocket, it's usually like a Honda Civic or something like that.
Toyota, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, right. No, this
Yeah.
this is Nissan Sentra. I was like, this is kind of sick. It's got but like just walking around those, even we can call that a convention. It's a car show, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. It's a convention. It's some a place where you're gathering for a specific topic that you and everybody else seems to be interested in, basically, right?
At which point, then, yeah, I could say that, yeah, I did do some cons even when I was a kid because we would go to the car show with my dad and then.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. Like there's always like the car expos and stuff like that, especially in New York or like in around Jersey.
Right.
But yeah, so like it depends on like which one I'm going to and how I want to prep for them, right?
Yeah.
Those are usually more like relaxed because I'm just like I'm gonna hear for whatever, so I'm just gonna go and take a lap at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, for like like back to like New York Comic Con specifically, I guess, or like nerd convention.
Yeah, because I don't think anyone cosplays for the New York Auto Show.
No, I highly doubt it. Yeah, exactly.
Props if they did though.
Yeah, if they did. Yeah, why not? Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
But for us, yeah, there's that little bit of like period where we start doing the what are you dressing as? We're doing a group cosplay. For me, again, 2016 as I started cosplaying or so, and I think I did Sans, I believe, was my first cosplay.
Yep.
Because Undertale was like just popped off, I think that year. I want to say
Mhm.
it just happened, and I was caught up in that wave absolutely. So I did a Sans cosplay. I'm a nerd. I'm not afraid to.
Oh no, you have to embrace your nerdhood because like, look, I mean, this is the only life you got, so enjoy it. Especially you got the opportunity. Yeah.
And
Go for
especially these conventions, that's the whole point of them.
Yeah.
We're all nerds there.
That's part of the
Like
fun.
I found another Sans at that convention, like
Yeah.
that year, and I found a Papyrus. Like I took a
Nice.
picture with them. I was like, this is great. Like the people who are also very into this game that I happen to be into.
Oh hell yeah.
And versus like my friends who have never even played the game and have no idea what I'm talking about. At least I found some other people who have some common ground who are strangers.
Yeah.
So that's always fun to do.
Always fun. Yeah. Especially like the more obscure that the more obscure nerd or fandom that you're repping, and then when you see people like it, you're like, my people.
Yeah.
As opposed to like all the Doctor Who's, which is still fun.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
But but like it's also like everyone knows who Doctor Who is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even
Or like all the Jedi's, and like you tell like
Yeah.
the lazy Jedi's that just put a robe on. Yeah.
Which is honestly, again, like the older I've gotten, I'm like, do it you, honestly. Because like I've done like more intricate cosplays the last couple of years, and I'm like, this is a pain.
Oh, dude, like
The comfy cosplays are where it's at.
oh, because like I was gonna say the gender band Amethyst was the high point for you.
That was so comfortable because it was literally just a pair of sneakers, black pants, a t-shirt and a vest on top of it.
Yeah, but then the paint.
The paint was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was so comfy, and then I made it so much more painful that day just to worry about the paint. But yeah, so it was like I did a Sans cosplay. What else did I do? What have I done at this point?
I'm trying to remember.
Gender band Amethyst. I know that was like 2018. I think it was.
Yep.
That was fun. Which was weird because I painted myself purple because Amethyst from Steven Universe is purple. But that was around the same time that like Thanos was starting to become really big in the MCU. So people was like, "Are you Thanos?" I'm like, "No, it's a very." If we're talking about like size of Steven Universe versus like the MCU, yeah, the MCU is massive at this point, and like, Steven Universe is kind of like a not niche show because it's still a big show, but it's tiny in comparison to the MCU.
Yeah, so it's more like Steven Galaxy.
Yeah, and it's just like like very specific people knew who I was or what I was referencing,
which is great.
Yeah, and then those people were like, "Oh, sick! You're an Amethyst." I'm like, "Yeah." And so I'll take a picture with people and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and then after Amethyst, I don't think I cosplayed the next year afterward, 2019.
Yeah, because I think that's when we started like actually running and like like really gaming for going for exclusives. And stuff like that.
And it's fine. Like I don't like doing that stuff, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. And then we had the pandemic year, which we missed out on, right?
Yep.
2021? Do we have a convention in 2021? We did, right?
I think we did. I mean, I know I did the virtual one.
We had
one
to because I did Iroh.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No. Sorry, I go back. That was probably your high point.
Yeah, 2020 was obviously pandemic year. Nothing happened that year.
Yeah. Oh no, it was virtual.
Virtual,
It was
and
alright, but
it's fine if you're really in the scene. You really want to stay as plugged in as much as possible, which is awesome for people who do that stuff, right?
Right.
Well, it's awesome. You can do all that stuff.
But it's not nearly as fun.
No, it's not as fun
even
as like a proper
remotely.
convention. You know what I mean? 2021, the return of New York Comic Con. Still technically within the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
It's just like it's a weird thing where like a lot of the countries kind of opened up, but we're kind of like cautiously tipping our toes back into the back out there.
Yep.
I went as Uncle Iroh, and I'm very happy of that cosplay. You're right. I think that might have been my highlight still personally of like my favorite costume. Well, I mean, I like the costume that I did last year too.
Actually,
but, like,
no, because yours last year and the previous year, Uncle Iroh and man, what was his name?
Wong.
Wong, yeah,
Yeah.
we're okay. I'd say they're both on par, because like there was more effort that went into the Amethyst. It was more standout, like
And that was that was still like a me project.
Yes.
I still did it.
Yeah.
Which is why it was like some parts were good, some parts were like clearly like, oh no, I made this. You know what I mean? I'm not an artist. I can't make all this stuff myself.
Yeah.
But I'm proud. I still have the rose whip over there from the Amethyst costume.
Nice.
And-
Use it on some other people now.
Yeah, exactly. But then for the last 2 years now, 2021, 2022, I have commissioned my 2 cosplays.
Moving up in the world.
Yeah. And again, it's just like I can't do it, so I'll pay somebody for their skills to make me a costume, especially so I can try to embody a character that I really really like.
Yep.
You know, like I love Uncle Iroh from the Avatar: The Last Airbender series, so I went around as Uncle Iroh in 2021, and then last year I went around as Wong. Which because again, like Wong's like a cool character. We don't get to see a whole lot of him.
Yeah.
But he's a cool character, right? Well, we got to see
definitely.
more of him recently because of obviously like the She-Hulk, right?
Right.
But it was funny because during last year's convention, New York Comic Con, I hadn't watched She-Hulk yet. So a lot of people were referencing like Madison. She's like a character in the show.
Yeah.
And I would just like laugh along and be like, haha, I don't know who that is. You know, like, I was like walk away, like acknowledge the joke, and I'm like walk away like shit. I don't.
It's like what's the reference? And confession, I actually didn't watch She-Hulk either.
Really?
I mean, because the thing is, like with MCU, there's just so
It's too
much out there.
It's too much now. I get it.
Yeah, like essentially any of the Disney properties, there's just way too much stuff out.
No. Absolutely, that's the case. And it took me a while to get to She-Hulk, but once I got into it, it was a fun watch.
Okay.
I will admit that it's a fun watch. It's a bit different from the other shows that they've done, but it's fun. I enjoyed it.
All right, cool.
But yeah, so like I did the Wong costume, and that was like a much more intricate cosplay, and it was very fun to do. And again, I would like to. I'm probably gonna. Those are like very nice costumes I had made from Pantapuff. That's her name. I'm gonna go ahead and shout her out right now. If you guys check her out, she was in Portugal before, I think, and now she's in Spain.
Nice.
I found her on Fiverr. That's actually where I commissioned her from. So it worked out. She's like a tailor slash seamstress. So she ends up doing cosplay on the side too, and it's awesome. She's great.
And I hope she listens to the episode because those cosplays were amazing.
Yeah,
and you got a lot of props for that.
I did, yeah. That's the first time I really got. So like again, I've done like the Amethyst cosplay, the Sans cosplay, and then I took a couple years off from doing it. Right.
Yep.
I got stopped a lot during the Iroh and the Wong one.
I remember that. I remember you going through. I think you made the mistake of going down Cosplay Alley and everyone was taking pictures or wanted to stop you.
Because it happened to be the fastest way to cut through the convention. Like go outside a little bit,
Yep.
You know what I mean, and try to get there just so I can get the opposite side of the building.
Yep.
And like every 5, steps, we just get stopped by somebody. Yo, can you get back here? What, like Uncle Iroh.
Uncle Iroh.
Exactly. I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck. Hopefully these guys are still there. They don't feel. I don't feel rude. I feel rude, like making them wait for me because we're trying to meet up with people. You know what I mean? And it's just the consequence of if you're cosplaying, you're doing it. You're gonna get some attention, and it's perfectly fine because obviously the whole point is you enjoying your nerdism with everybody else, right?
Exactly.
In terms of cosplay, I always. How many days of Comic-Con do you do? Because I only do 2 usually. I used to do 3.
Oh, I'm a glutton for pain. I started out doing 2, and then I've graduated to 4.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I used to do 3s, which was like kind of rough to begin with. The third, because I would do the Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday.
Mhm.
The Sunday's one's kind of rough because you've already done 2 days in the city.
Yeah.
We got to deal with like going to church in the morning
Mhm.
and then like, and then go back into the city afterwards. After I'm still dead. I haven't recovered yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've as of late I've cut down to 2. That's been like me. I've only been doing 2 since like 2018.
Yeah.
That's my thing now. I'll do like a Friday, Saturday, and the last year I did Thursday, Friday because Thursday's usually a little more relaxed. Friday's a little bit busy, starting to get there, and then Saturday and Sunday. Saturday's usually like a full on free for all.
Yeah.
And then Sunday's like a 50-50 chance of being chill or people trying to catch up because they didn't get to go the other days.
Exactly. And Sunday's usually the day when people bring their kids.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Sunday tickets, usually kids tickets sell out first. Interesting.
Surprising. Okay.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Oh yeah. So before I lose my last train of thought, we can move on to your bits here. I will do 1 day of, which is again why I'm asking how many days you usually do. I do 1 day just dressed up. Not like regular dress up, right? Regular clothes. I try to do most of my shopping on the first day.
Yep.
I will try to always like get figurines, exclusive pins, get certain autographs done. I will try to always get them done the first day.
Yep.
Anything where I have to be carrying a bunch of shit on the way back home, I will try to get it done the first day so I don't have to do it the next day when I'm cosplaying. Because, like, being in cosplay and carrying, like, a bunch of merch bags, it kind of breaks the illusion of the character.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? And I still have to buy. Sometimes I have no chance. I have to buy things the next day. It just happens, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, I try to do like one day, just regular street clothes. The next day in cosplay, and I'll still do a little bit of shopping, most likely. But it's just like I don't have it in me to do like 3 days worth, do cosplay 2 days or whatever, right? I'll just do that. That's personally what I do nowadays.
Right.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I wanted to bring up too. Like, going 4 days, and you and I have figured it out. The kicker, the key, it's Thursday. Like just go Thursday, get a lay of the land, go do whatever shopping you got to do, and like you can stretch your arms out and like you don't touch people. And then you're like Friday, it's a little bit more cramped, and then Saturday you're just straight up sardines.
Yeah.
But Thursday honestly is like probably my favorite day.
Yeah, Thursday's been nice as of the last 2 years that I've been doing it. Yeah, 2 years now, right? Yeah, 2 years that I've been doing it. Yeah, way more relaxed, a little more room to breathe, and especially if you're like one of those dudes who are like fiending. You know what I mean? You're people who do the exclusives. You do a little bit of reselling on the side, right? Make a little bit of money back from your convention that you're going to.
Yep.
Why not? I get it. Make your money, right? Yeah, Thursday's the day you want to go on so you can get all your shopping done in one shot.
Oh yeah.
Or the likeliest chance for you to get most of your shopping done in one shot.
Yep.
That's how I see it.
Yeah. Thursday or the beginning of Friday. That's what's up. Yeah.
So when we attend, you're usually doing like the comfier cosplays, right? That's your whole shtick.
And like it's funny because like the time period from getting the tickets to the time that we meet up is the time that I like to refer to as called lying to myself. Because it's like, yeah, I want to cosplay like this, I want to do that. Like yeah, the grail for me is to dress up as like
group cosplay.
Yeah,
get everybody to cooperate, get on the same boat, right?
Exactly.
Never fucking happens.
Never happens.
Never.
I mean, well, we kind of lucked out one year because we did the tribute for Abby. Sadly,
a friend of ours passed away.
Yeah, from COVID. So like the next year when we did find, Return to the Con, a bunch of us, cosplay as in Harry Potter robes and stuff. So yeah, like it actually worked out, one year where we planned a sort of ensemble cosplay where a bunch of us, dressed up in our Harry Potter robes, and we were able to take group pictures that way, and it was nice.
Yeah.
That was the 1 year we were able to do the group ensemble cosplay, and then the other holy grail for cosplay for me is do like Voltron or like a Transformer.
Oh, like a big old heavy duty style cosplay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the cool thing we see is we see the people who do like the Hulkbuster or like
hell
the Reinhardt from Overwatch one, right? Those massive ones.
Bumblebee. Yeah.
Yeah, those are sick. But it's obviously it's like those must be a pain to wear around for a whole day and be in that character the whole day, right? You got to deal with being in cosplay, people having to stop you. You're not going for the convention for yourself at that point.
Yeah,
that's more of like I'm doing this because it's like a passion project or a hobby that you really like doing, or you're a professional cosplayer and like your job is for exposure.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like you're committing to just losing your day to be everybody else's like attraction.
Exactly.
That's your point.
Yeah,
right?
you're a moving attraction that's not. Maybe you're not. Maybe you are. Maybe you're not sponsored by Comic-Con and stuff. But like, yeah, it brings a lot of attention. Although it does make me kind of question, like, actually, two things. A, in that case, Thursday's your day to just go as a normal person, go do your shopping, go check it out and enjoy. And then the other thing is too, like, how do you really bring it into the city? Like, imagine like bringing like a van or truckload.
Yeah, of gear.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like I remember seeing the guy in the Hulkbuster, and like he was wearing the bottom half, and then the top half he had to get put on. But I'm like, wow, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then how do you bring it in?
Yeah, it's absolutely like a whole thing. It's a whole procedure for that one dude. And again, that props to those guys, right?
Oh, seriously, yeah.
There's a reason why like I do the 1 day regular day, the 1 day cosplay, and that's already enough for me to do. And most of my cosplays are just clothing, just robes, maybe a pair of pants underneath, and like. Heavier because I'm layering stuff on. That's basically it for me.
Same.
For them, they're doing like full on like PVC suits and armor like made out of paper mache or like 3D printing and all this other stuff. It's like I'm not doing that.
Yeah. No, they're intricate. It's crazy, but it's really good.
It's sick. But it's just like I'm not doing this. Absolutely. Unless I'm getting paid for it, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of those cool things that we really like to see at conventions. We always want to see like what's the cool costume this year, right? There's always like the one professional who's the standout. I'm like, what is it this year? I remember there was a Lex Luthor a couple years ago in the suit. Remember?
Yeah.
Like that dude, the big old. Clearly, he's in like stilts, you know what I mean? Because obviously he has to be higher up and all this other stuff, and the big old Lex Luthor like mech suit type of deal.
Yep. That was good.
Yeah, that was really cool. And I remember the one year we also got to see the bad Batman, the Batman.
Oh yeah, the Batman who laughs.
No, not that one.
No?
The bad Batman, Ben Affleck Batman.
Oh. Really? Because when you say bad Batman, I'm thinking like, oh, George Clooney.
Yo, yeah. Depends on where we want to go, right? Exactly. I'll fire back to you when I want to roll back.
Yeah.
No, the one with the one with the shotgun Batman. Remember Batman vs Superman?
Yeah, the Batman where he actually used like firearms.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
And I called the bad Batman, but like it's more that that was just a bad movie. That's what more of my point is. It was a bad movie.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck was a perfectly fine, adequate Batman. He was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
way
get
better than Clooney.
Yeah, way better. I'll gladly admit that. But yeah, like like I remember it was like seeing those because they're obviously from different storylines, right? But seeing them stand next to each other, it's like it's still cool to see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like how we do our cosplay stuff, especially or at least our things on cosplay now, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Let's roll it back a little bit even before the conventions, right? How do you prep for conventions?
And that's the thing, like, at the beginning, I mean, yeah, when you're a first timer going to a convention, just go enjoy it. And now it's crazy because like we're like, oh, what are the exclusives? What's happening?
Yeah, now we're doing research, and it's like this used to be fun,
right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Which is why like this past year, I basically said I will help you on certain things, but on the second day is me. If it happens to like be open time, sure I'll help you out, but don't ask me to do certain things. I absolutely like my friend. Our friends ask us to hold spots in line, stuff like that. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
I'll do that. You know what I mean? If you like, oh cool, I'm just between signings for me, I'll do that. Why not?
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. But don't ask me to like, wait in line for 3 hours for one thing. Absolutely not.
Oh, that was me, and that was painful for three days.
It was
and
rough.
Then, and then there was the one day, and actually Sunday. It was great. And as a matter of fact, I got there early on Sunday. I was actually able to get one of the exclusives and then enjoy the rest of the time. But lately it's been work.
Yeah, but back to the original point. Is like, go for yourself. That's the first biggest thing. Go for conventions for yourself. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
But like, so for prepping for conventions, what do you usually do now? Because obviously now we do a little bit of research with it. For us specifically, we try to figure out what are the exclusives that I want, which ones are gonna be hard, which ones are kind of guessing game, like what's gonna be hard to get, right?
Yep.
And then it's also like what panels we want to go see, try to sign up for, and do all this stuff.
Yep.
Is there anything we have to see there, right?
Exactly.
And then obviously prepping like our bags for the convention.
That's the other thing.
Like, what's your kit for the day, right? So, you want to start off here then, I guess?
Yeah, go for it. 'Cause, I mean, I'll go for it because number one, look at what the exclusives are, and especially now that there are certain exclusives that you need to get access to that you're in the lottery for, or whatever, and then the other one are the exclusives where you got to run.
Yeah,
and that's the tough part. You got to run. You're in line for maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, if you're lucky. 50 minutes, yeah. And then you got to figure where they are, and that's where the key comes in, which is Thursday.
Yeah,
you get a lay of the land. If you're lucky, you can snipe some of those exclusives, but Thursday you figure it out.
It's still busy, but not as busy. That's basically what it is. Because there's still people who figured it out already. They're like, no, Thursday's the day I go to buy all my stuff, and those people who fiend for that stuff, they've shifted over now to doing the Thursday day.
Oh, so they're learning.
That's what I saw at least this year, right?
Yeah, that's true. Actually, no.
This year's Thursday was busy. It was weird. It was confusing for us because usually we expected Thursday to be the chill day.
Well, Thursday was busy if you're sniping. If you're feeding and sniping, but if you're just like going to their chill, it was actually great. Because like remember when we were done, like it was like, oh, it's not bad.
Yeah, we weren't like feeling like dead at the end of the day and all that stuff. It was fine.
Yeah,
but so like you do your research, you do your fiending on the first day. Hopefully you're doing it, which is usually again like hopefully it's better the first day than the second day.
Yeah,
there's weirdness if you do only a weekend, if you do Saturday Sunday.
Yeah,
you're doing most of your shopping most likely Sunday.
Yeah,
you're not doing a Saturday shopping day.
Yeah, Saturdays, and that's the thing because like Saturday's the day to kind of go look at cosplay. Like if you're shopping on Saturday, like that
you have fun with that. You screwed up your whole convention day, honestly. At that point. But so like you do your prep for the first day, hopefully for you. You're doing a research for where you want to go.
Yep.
What's your kit look like during these convention days?
Definitely backpack.
Obviously.
Yeah, and especially like having one of the things actually one of the things I do want to bring up is like you do have access to some of the coat checks, so take advantage of that.
Yes, if you have access to the coat checks, please do actually leave your shit there.
Yeah.
It's secure. You don't have to worry about things getting stolen out of there, which is perfectly amazing.
Yep.
Right. You can actually like leave some of your merch there too, right? From my
Yeah.
understanding.
Yep.
Yeah. So there you go. You can actually leave your stuff together with other stuff and not have to carry it the whole day.
Yeah. And that's the thing because like we're talking about how do you prepare? Like one of the things is you have to prepare for that level of logistics. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, if you can go to a con where you can self park, that's fantastic. Self
Mm.
park, bring your stuff, drop it in the car, go back and not have to carry anything or reload up if you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that that's part of the prep, like logistics, which it's kind of funny, like you mentioned, like it's gotten more painful lately.
Yeah, yeah. So like a couple years ago, we had our friend Bobby. Right, he lives in New York. He lived like a couple blocks away from the Javits Center, which is great.
Yep.
I mean, not for us specifically. I wasn't leaving anything at his place personally.
Same.
But I know like the other guys who spend the whole 3-4 days at Comic-Con. Hey, can we drop off something for the day and we'll come back and get it at the end of the night and head back home, back to Jersey, right?
Yeah.
For us, as of the last 3 conventions we've gone to now, or the last 3 New York Comic Cons,
Yep.
we've driven in.
Yep.
No, I'm no longer taking the train, because I get into pain.
Yep.
And then having to go back onto the train at the end of the night is rough, especially if you're carrying a lot of merch, right? We were talking about it in the beginning, the earlier beginning part of this podcast.
Yep.
We get to go sure, we can't stop off the car every 2 hours or so. We can't do that, right? Because the car is parked inside of a parking deck. The car parks are doing all that stuff. They're deep in the parking deck. But at least at the end of the night, you can carry all your stuff, toss it in your trunk, drive home. No longer a problem.
And you don't gotta walk a mile, 2 miles.
We're talking 2 blocks away from the convention center.
Yeah.
Maybe even 1 block.
Yeah.
And it's the best thing that you started doing, and I joined you in basically for it.
Oh no, it's worth it. Yeah, I mean, you carpool, and especially having an SUV, toss the stuff in the trunk.
Yeah.
We can bring some other people with us.
Exactly. Yeah. And it just makes the end part of the trip way more easy to deal with.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the logistical part, the planning stuff, right? Of how we do stuff right here, right?
And then also the scheduling too, because you have to figure out what panels you want to go to, what exclusives you want to go to, what you want to see, and you kind of got to rank them because a lot of the times they're around the same time or they're in different parts of the building.
Yeah,
you got to run back and forth.
Yeah, you got to figure out where you're going to be going for that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So rolling back a little bit, kit. What are you usually bringing? So you had a backpack. Obviously, you're not allowed to bring certain things into place, right? You're not allowed to bring if you're a person who carries a pocket knife on them at all times, utility, not for stabbing people, for utility, right?
Yeah.
It's always you're always going to need a knife at some point, right?
Right. Yeah.
You can't bring that in, obviously.
Yeah. Cosplay as John Wick, but don't be John Wick.
Yeah, exactly. But my backpack is for me. What is it? It's a battery pack.
Yep.
A charger, a cable, cable for Apple as well. I will try to be a friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an Android guy. I always have a lightning cable for somebody else.
Yep. Oh, I have multi cables now.
I have one of those too. Exactly. So it's if somebody else needs it, they can always have it.
Yep.
So battery bank, charger, cables, bottle of water.
Yep.
Right, because the Javits Center has a refillable water station, so you can always refill your water bottle there instead of spending $7 for a bottle of Dasani.
Yep.
I refuse.
I refuse.
I refuse. What else is there?
I mean, that's the thing, because your kit is essentially the same as the same kit you would bring for. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that you don't like to travel by air, but it's very similar. Backpack, power bank, cables, bottle of water, and then I now have the the bottle of water with a filter on it. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's like a personal little nicety, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wet wipes.
Wet wipes. Yes.
Wet wipes. Wet wipes and Sani. Yeah.
Convention halls, they're great for the first hour.
Yeah.
And then they get very gross because obviously you're cramming thousands of people into a relatively small building, obviously compared to the amount of people that are actually inside of it. Right?
Oh yeah, especially on a Saturday, if you're going on a Saturday, it's
Friday.
BO City. Yeah,
it's rough. It's rough to do all that stuff. Wet wipes, Sani wipes.
Wet wipes, Sani. I always bring a towel and extra socks with me now. And Band-Aids because I get blisters on my feet because actually, dude, that's one of the things I look forward to every year is you walk
15,000 20,000 steps a day for the convention.
Oh, I love dude, and that I love I love the weight loss I get from Comic-Con.
Yeah, well, I can't say that because for me, I'm constantly eating because it's always after Comic-Con is hey, we're gonna go to Koreatown, we're gonna grab a bite to eat.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, so I was like, oh well, so much for burning calories for the day.
Yeah, but you earned it, so it's worth it. Exactly, it's worth it. Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, that's another thing too, I guess. always try to dress appropriately, right, for
Yeah.
the day. Even if it's like warm out, you still want to be able to take off a layer.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna get real warm in the convention center real quick. Comfy shoes,
Comfy
right?
shoes. I was gonna say that's probably number one.
That is probably the most important thing.
Yeah.
For like if you're cosplaying, sorry, that you're committing for their cosplay, right?
Yeah.
There's some chicks that I see who are dressed up in a cosplay for the whole day and they're wearing like heels. I'm
Heels.
like, it's part of me is like saluting, like good on you for doing it, committing to the bit. I absolutely will not. Like I have like I did the Iroh and the Wong cosplay, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Toms,
and
right?
I was wearing like Toms ish. Yeah, I'm not getting sponsored by Toms now. there goes a sponsorship, right? But like those are not great for the feet, especially if you're walking the whole day.
Yeah.
Like I personally I don't like them for that because for me there's not enough padding.
Yep.
Which is funny because I wear minimalist sneakers, but like no, these specifically like have a very weird foot feel for me.
Yep.
And though it fits the costume, like they're like brown, they usually match the color of the cosplays that I'm wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're talking like 3 hours in, my feet are killing me.
Yeah.
And like I think those are rough to wear.
Yeah.
But like for the day that I'm not cosplaying and I'm just dressed up normal, yeah, I'm wearing like a pair of my New Balances or my Reeboks.
Which I got to thank you for. I switched over to the New Balance from Skechers, and like it's the next level in comfort.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely again. Those are probably my favorite sneaker as of right now. But yeah, for like comfort, like you need a good pair of like walking / running shoes. You're gonna be on your feet the whole day. You want something that has a little bit of give, a little bit of support. And especially if you're waiting in line all day, you want something that'll give you a little bit of cush. Actually.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of which, if you're one of those dudes who waits in line all day, folding chair.
Yep. I was gonna say.
Yeah. I noticed it from Norm and all them. Like a lot of them bring like a little camping chair.
Yep.
If you're spending your day in line, you might as well not stand the whole time.
Yeah. Like what I noticed last year was like people like having those camping chairs that are like that the cylinder ones now.
Yeah, they're like kind of like unscrew kind of deal. Yeah, I know those ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the year before that was a little triangle stool ones.
Yep.
Yeah, like it's like literally 3 posts like kind of screwed together, and then they just make a little bit of cloth. Just enough for you to just to sit on, basically. That's literally all it is.
Yeah.
If you're sitting in line for like an hour plus.
Yep.
But yeah, that's kind of like the kit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because you also don't want to carry too much because you are probably gonna be buying stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of hope. I mean, that's one of the things you go for. You know, like
this is a day for consuming.
Yeah.
We it's rampant capitalism, but we're just gonna go in for it, right?
Yeah, like if you go into a con, you're not there to save money. You're
No,
going there to spend.
you have to acknowledge. That's another thing too. You have to acknowledge you're gonna be spending money.
Yeah.
Either on food, on merch.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what you do and don't buy. For me, the last couple of years, I've been doing a lot of Artist Alley stuff.
Yep.
That's been a lot of the merch that I've been getting. Like aside from like getting some of the collectibles, right? Some of the pins that I really want. I've been spending a lot of time in Artist Alley, and that's where I've been buying a lot of my stuff recently.
Actually, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because it's usually in a completely separate part of the building, but then you see all kinds of different stuff, and it's great. Like like when we started going to Comic-Con, it's like, oh wow, Marvel, DC, all these big names, and then after all, it's like, no, I really like these little names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where like we get to see some like artists actually doing their spin on stuff, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And also because Artist Alley also has like big name artists too.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like they had one of the artists for Ren and Stimpy was there a couple years. He's there like every year, I think, from my understanding, right?
Yep.
I forget. I'm so bad at names. But I know Kuya Norm has like he had like a sketch and like a autograph from him, I think it was.
Yep. Chris Claremont was a long line.
Yeah. Anyone who does Batman, anyone who does Spawn.
Yep.
Like they're usually all there, and those lines are also always like cut off lines.
Yep.
Like 3 hours. I'm like, okay, we're cutting off here. We're no more signups kind of deal.
Yep.
That's perfectly fine especially if you're a big fan of those people, right? You want to line up. You want to get a piece of custom art or a signature from them. That's perfectly fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's like I've been doing Artist Alley for like random merch for smaller things that I enjoy, that you're not gonna find on the main floor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have like on my wall right now I have the Majora's Mask print that I bought from somebody, right?
Oh, you got a ton of great stuff on your wall that we got from Comic-Con.
Yeah, like most of the posters in my room. I mean, I should be framing them honestly, but like they're all from Artist Alley. But yeah, the folder right behind you right there, the fairy tale one.
Yep.
Yeah, the one you got from me. That was the one year that I couldn't go. That was 2017, I think it was, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. There's more posters in there that I've just kind of thrown in there just to hold them. But yeah, I haven't even had a chance to put them up yet. I want to frame certain things.
Oh yeah, I got them in tubes all over my basement.
Yeah,
house, yeah.
I just want to I want to put them up, but it's like I want to put them up properly. Type of deal. But yeah, there's just plenty of stuff that I just want to put up myself. You know what I mean? A lot of like smaller things that I enjoy.
Right.
That are just not going to be on the main floor from like a major distributed, like major company, right?
Yeah.
Like there's like what is it, like Shonen Jump is there? You know what I mean? They always are. Viz Media, right? The anime companies.
Yep.
They're there, but sometimes the thing that they sell is not something that I really want, or like it's just like it's merch for a series that I don't particularly follow.
Yeah.
But then I go off to Artist Alley and I'm like, and I'll find a piece of art from this like game that was like big in 2017. You know what I mean? And then they're still making art from it. Like, oh, sick! Like, this is a really awesome. It's a really cool piece of art, and I really enjoyed it. Or I like the style of it. So yeah, like I'll do Artist Alley a lot, especially as of late. And I think a couple of our friends have like started shifting over to Artist Alley as well too, because they've realized how dope some of the stuff is in there is.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Who was the one at New York Comic Con this year? The little the Japanese girl.
Oh, Peach Momoko.
Yeah. I've seen her style before. I didn't know. I knew she must have been big because everyone was waiting for her.
Oh, I mean.
And I've seen some of her stuff. I just don't particularly do comics that much anymore. I'm not a big comic guy anymore.
Right, because she does Marvel stuff now.
Yeah, that's what I saw. And one of the people I was in line with, they came all the way from Texas, and they brought like their collection with them for her to sign.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cool because I look and they just let me like thumb through their whole box of like prints that they wanted to sign, and clearly they're fans. You know what I mean? Like because they weren't getting like just the signature. They were getting like Peach Momoko 2 person.
Wow.
Yeah, so clearly they're not trying to resell it. That's a big thing, right?
That's impressive.
Yeah, they clearly wanted it for themselves for their own collection, which is awesome because like obviously like that's been an issue, not issue, right?
Yeah, I would say so because I mean, there's the the
resellers, scalpers, whatever you want to call them, right? People who are just getting merch to just flip on, you know what I mean, type of deal.
Yeah,
there's been a lot of that the last couple of years. It's blown up, and it absolutely has been for the last 2 years now.
And that was the big thing with Peach Momoko last year, where like there were actually fights in line, and that's the thing that we got to talk about too. Like you go to cosplay, you go to have fun, like just have fun. Don't pick a beef with anyone. Don't yeah.
Yeah, the whole point of it is to be fun.
Yeah.
You want to just enjoy yourself. And it's funny, right? Because like this is a nerd convention. People used to get made fun of for going to nerd conventions, you know what I mean? But now it's mainstream to be a nerd.
Oh yeah. It's a badge of honor.
Yeah, it's a badge of honor now, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's weird because the fact that like do you think it's an issue of like New York Comic Con? Is it kind of like a victim of its own success?
I think so. Yeah.
It's massive now. I mean, it's still not as big as San Diego Comic Con, obviously, right?
Yeah.
That's massive. Like that's a big convention.
It's crazy. And it's kind of funny that you mentioned that before because like, going back to getting the whole tickets thing, like I tried to get tickets for San Diego one year and like, New York Comic Con will sell out in a matter of hours, such and such. But like, for San Diego, you're talking minutes. Like if you're not there,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say you're right. That's also like, like what I think Buffa would probably agree with and some of the other people. They're saying that like, you know what? They're not like in New York's NYCC as much. Like I think you said you like PAX more.
PAX is my favorite convention now.
Yeah.
I've only been to it once. And I'm like, I had more fun at the one PAX than I've had at the last like 3 New York Comic Cons.
Well, also because we've been running and trying to snipe, and that part wasn't as fun.
Yeah, so I guess we'll touch on that a little bit now, I guess, actually.
Sure.
So, away from the NYCC, I started going to Anime NYC and PAX East specifically. So Anime NYC is in the Javits Center as well. Same convention center as New York Comic Con, but much smaller scale. So
much more manageable.
Much more manageable. Still pretty busy. There's still a lot of exclusives and stuff like that, but much smaller. And it's funny because I'm gonna say something. Just put me out a little bit. I used to not want to go to Anime NYC because one, it used to be like a week after New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
And even before that, like 2013, 2014, when it was still kind of like growing, it was like a corner of New York Comic Con. It was very small back then. Now it's bigger. Now it's its own convention, which is awesome, right?
Yeah.
But there's a bit of me that is the judgmental weeb. I'm a weeb. I will gladly admit this, right? I'm a weeb. I love anime. I love manga, and I'm like a bit of an elitist. I will absolutely like. I'm not I'm not that proud of it, but I was like I make fun of people who like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
and only Dragon Ball Z. You know what I mean? Like or only Bleach, only Boku no Hero, only whatever flavor show Shonen Jump is putting out at the moment, right?
Right, because it's kind of funny because I kind of fall into that camp, like Attack on
It's
Titan.
like the entry level.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I've tried to get away from it, but there's a bit of me who's an elitist. Absolutely, there is, and I can't get away from it. But there's a weirdness to like anime fans.
Because there's even more weeb than you.
Yeah, and I think it's because there's a difference between being like a weeb and being self-aware. Because I'm self-aware. I understand that I'm a weeb, and I get that I'm cringy sometimes. But it's like, but I also don't go around speaking broken Japanese and like pretending that I'm from Japan. you know.
And also, you're not a snob. Cause
no, I am. I'm a snob, to be fair.
Oh yeah, I mean, not as much, and that's the thing. Like, that's one of the reasons why I actually haven't gone to anime, is because like I'm like the like Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer guy.
So it's funny, you would actually fit in much better.
Really?
Yes, because me being a snob, I'm like it feels weird because I had this judgmental like, you fucking normies, just like you and your entry level anime, get the hell out of me. And I used to think also as well like like weebs have like a bit of weird to them, right? Like the ones who are like not self conscious,
right?
Like do you remember glomping? Or glomping, yeah. Do you remember that?
I think so. Yeah.
When people would like aggressively hug, they would like throw themselves on each other to like hug aggressively.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I hated that shit. Get the fuck off me. That was like, and I had friends who were like, friends who were weebs back in high school who like did that shit. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, get off me. And then it's also like.
Well, also because you're not like one of those like touchy feely kind of guys. Like I'm a hugger, so I might be more amenable to it.
But even then, it's just like it's too much. It's aggressive, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
There was like yaoi paddles. Do you remember that?
No.
This is a weird part of like the anime fan, right? There would literally be a dude having one of those like wooden paddles. It just says yaoi paddle. You know what yaoi is?
No.
Aggressively gay anime or like manga or like hentai.
It's kind of funny because you say yaoi panels. I'm like, yaoi panels? Are we talking like
Yaoi? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I thought you were like,
and I'm like,
why
and people just paddle each other. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Get the fuck away from me.
Oh.
So like that's what I'm saying. It's a bit of like a weirdness in the anime community that I'm like, I try to distance myself away from.
Okay.
And again, cringy weebs. I was like, stay the fuck away from me. Because again, I'm a self-aware weeb. There's the line.
Yeah.
I'm self-aware that I'm a weeb. So I'm very aware of like I don't just let go because I'm around my people. I can be as weird as I want. No, fuck you. You're still in public. I'm gonna go on a fucking rant. That's why I didn't want to go to Anime NYC for a long time. I didn't want to go to like a dedicated anime convention because even when we go to like New York Comic Con, there's like that weeb corner back in the day. Remember again before when Anime NYC was its own thing, they had like a corner.
Yeah, it was the basement.
Basically, it was in the back corner of the main floor, and it felt like this is where all the anime stuff is getting pushed to.
Right.
Body pillows, more lewd stuff. You know what I mean? That's in the corner. That's the weeb shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And again, I say weeb shit as a weeb.
Yeah.
But there's very clear, and you can also tell these are like, I don't want to say this.
Go ahead.
They're basement dwellers.
Yeah.
They're the people who are like, like the stereotypical quote unquote nerd.
Yeah.
Where you think of somebody who stays in their basement, doesn't shower, they only watch anime, and that's where they are. It's a stereotype, but like there was definitely a lot of that there, right?
They got the body pillows with the sticky covers. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird. You know what I mean? That's why I didn't want to go to Anime NYC for a while. But I went the last 2 years. And it was fun. It was a lot more fun than I like initially thought it to be. You know what I mean? There's still a little bit of a weirdness to it, right? There's people who are like hardcore anime fans.
Yeah.
Because there's this thing, right? There's people who are like fans of like pop culture stuff, like Marvel. This stuff is big now. Nerdism is big now, right?
Yeah.
But then there would be the people who are like, don't go to New York Comic Con, but only go to Anime NYC.
Right.
And to me, that's like a weird like you only watch anime. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but also from the standpoint where like
it makes sense, but it's dumb, right? my thought process, like it's like it has some merit.
Yeah.
But it's also like I'm very judgmental because of it.
Because I mean, part of me is like, you do you. If you don't like the especially like, for example, I have, my sister is more of an introvert, although I did get her into to NYCC, so
yeah,
it's cool.
That's good, yeah.
But, like, she would be probably more amenable to going to Anime NYC than, other people. And, for example, like for the introverts, Anime NYC may be more where it's at as opposed to NYCC, where especially NYCC on a Saturday.
Yeah, it's busy.
Yeah, like if you're an introvert, yeah.
Yeah, Anime NYC is much more manageable. Smaller convention.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty busy.
Yep.
And again, if you're into anime and stuff, it's nice. It's nice to be like specifically if you're really into anime, it's there. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Some more artists. Again, they have like their own like artist alley section where you're
Mhm.
gonna get a lot more dedicated anime stuff, anime related stuff, right? VTubers is a big thing that I'm really into, right? I'm gonna find more of that stuff at Artist Alley in Anime NYC than at Artist Alley in New York Comic Con.
Right. And if for those listeners who haven't who don't know about VTubers, check out a previous episode.
Yeah, thank you. thanks for the plug, buddy.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see. So yeah, Anime NYC was like a fun experience now for the last 2 years that I've enjoyed because again, it's not as intense as, yeah, that's a good way to call it. It's not as
Yeah.
intense as New York Comic Con is.
Oh, New York Comic Con's intense, and like I can't even imagine what San Diego's like.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely insane to
Yeah.
me. And then what is it? PAX. PAX is dope because I'm really into video games, right? That's the whole point of this podcast.
Right.
Well, part of this podcast. We talk about other stuff other than just video games.
A large part, though.
Well, large part.
Yeah.
But PAX is dope because I get to have like a hands-on on like a bunch of indie games and some bigger titles too. Like last year, Baldur's Gate had a booth. Gearbox Studios had a booth for Tiny Tina's for Tiny Tina's Adventure World, whatever the hell it's called. I didn't play the game, but they're a big studio. They're technically like a major studio, right? They were there, and then there's a bunch of like, I think they call themselves Triple I studios, like indie, but you know, like Triple A games.
Yeah.
Triple A games is, you know, you think about your Sony's, like, you know, your
EA.
EA,
Ubisoft.
Activision, Ubisoft,
Yeah.
you know, Microsoft in general, right? Nowadays, Blizzard, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Triple I is like Devolver Digital, Tiny Build. These indie games that are like, they're still technically indie games because they're smaller teams making them, but they're indie teams that have like money because they've had previous successful projects. So again, like Devolver Digital, they made like, you know, I think they made Enter the Gungeon. They have another one coming out real soon. Pepper Grinder, I think, is coming out as well this year. Think of like games like Hades. You know what I mean? That's technically an indie game, but that is a big indie game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hollow Knight is technically an indie game.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Ori and the Blind Forest was technically an indie game, but then they were eventually supported by Microsoft.
Yep.
So games like that are technically like big budget indie games versus small 2-man team indie games. Yeah, that's kind of where the division is.
Right.
But every one of those is there, which is cool because I got to speak to, like, there was like a game that I played called Blind Fate that was there last year, right? French indie team development team. I would have never heard of this game unless I went there.
Wow.
Because they, you know, I saw it there. I saw the aesthetic. I was like, this is a cool looking game. They let me try it, and I remember they let me like try the demo like twice because I failed the boss during the demo, but they were like, oh, you clearly like can play video games. You know what I mean? Like you kind of picked up on the system real quick. You messed up. Well, let's just try it again. You know what I mean? And then they were talking to me about like how the game plays and how they're expecting to work on the game, and because the game was basically ready-ish to come out. There was, I think, doing like final touches kind of deal, and they kind of promote in the promotion series.
Yeah.
And it was dope because I got to actually talk to the developers. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Stuff like that. Same with like Power Chord was a game that's like a card builder roguelike game from them that I got to play as well too, and I got to talk to developers from that one as well too. And yeah, like that's kind of my thing as of late. Is like as of the last convention that I really enjoyed was because I got to actually try stuff out, which is really cool because PAX is like a very like
hands-on,
public facing. That's
okay.
Let's call it, yeah. I think that's probably like a good way to call it. It's meant for the public to get their hands on video games and actually try stuff out, versus like, you know, E3, which is more of like a journalist focused type of thing.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
it. Yeah.
But PAX is very much so focused on letting people come and try stuff out, which is why I think there's a really cool convention.
Yep.
And there's still some cool stuff. You know, the merch is cool there. The merch designs are very cool. They have a pin hunt type of deal.
Yep.
Where you can do like some pin trading. You know, there's always an exclusive pin set for that year, but it's not like a New York Comic Con pin set where like I have to like worry about running to specific booths to try to get stuff.
Yeah.
I can just go to the same booth once an hour and just like roll a dice and see if I can get it or not.
Oh, nice.
Really chill, really relaxed. And then they also have the thing like, hey, if you see a pin on the board, just trade another pin for it, you can get it. Very
Cool.
simple. Like, you know, I mean, like, pinboard trading is not a new thing, right?
Yeah.
But because it's much less of that like scalper, like, you know, fiending type of mentality there,
Yeah.
it's way more relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's something that I really didn't appreciate the past few years about New York Comic Con. Because
Yeah.
and you know, there's the pin hunting too, which I started to get into. I got a bunch of exclusives, but then like, yeah, it becomes work. And I'm not there to
Yeah.
work. I want to enjoy.
No, I'm trying. Yeah, this
Yeah.
the biggest thing. Like at the end of the day for conventions, is you're there to enjoy yourself,
Mhm.
right? Why would you spend all this? I mean, if you're into that stuff, that's perfectly fine. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the we have plenty of friends who just spend 3 days like fiending for stuff, and then the last
Yeah.
day is for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's plenty of that stuff.
Yeah.
Perfectly fair.
And yeah, and if that's you, do you?
That's if that's you, that's you. You know, for me, I just don't have it in me to spend all my like I don't want to like personally give up like a whole day just like trying to buy stuff that I'm just trying to make a buck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it happens to fall into my lap, yeah, sure, I'll take it.
Exactly.
But like I'm not grinding 3 hours to go get one thing to make a couple $100.
Yeah.
Not doing it
Yeah.
personally. Whatever.
Personally, yeah, same. Yeah.
But what about you? Anything for like convention wise that you wanted to go hit up anytime soon, or anything aside from New York Comic Con you've been to recently?
I don't know. And that's actually the thing I wanted to mention because, that's what a lot of people have been saying. Like they say that actually, what C2E2s they like better, WonderCon they like better, Emerald City they like better.
I've heard Emerald City is very very cool because it's
Yeah.
big but it's not massive.
Yeah, and it's in the same family as New York Comic Con. It's just not this, like you said, like way too bigger than it really needs to be.
Yeah, a victim of its own success.
Yeah, victim of his own success. Perfect. Yeah, perfectly said. Yeah, and that's one of the things I was thinking of going to those. I mean, this year's a big year for me, and I'm gonna be busy. But one of the things I do and look forward to is bringing future wifey to New York Comic Con and getting her involved in yeah, she's already put a ring on it, so she can't say no. It's like, all right, yeah, you're coming with me.
Yeah, and like it depends on those, especially if they don't have conventions, or people in general who like aren't from the New York tri-state area type of deal.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's conventions are everywhere nowadays, right?
Yep.
They are.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna say that we're the only place that has conventions. We're
No.
not.
Yeah.
But like when you think of like a big convention, you think usually Comic Con. You know
Yep.
what I mean? That's big. It's, it's New York, and the ones everyone knew before was New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con. That was it.
Yep.
So I mean, like even though there's more out there now, it's perfect. There's like it's still one of those things that like I feel like everyone, if you're a nerd, you should at least try to experience one.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the way I see it. Like and again, like however you and just like again, like do the typical prep for a convention. Like
Yep.
like again, see what you want to see what you want to pick up, panels, all the stuff, exclusive. If you want to buy stuff. Again, the whole point of if you're supposed to have fun,
Yeah.
you're gonna spend money. That's just the thing. You're just gonna spend money no matter what.
Yeah.
But like just at least be prepared for it, right? We talked a little bit of actually pretty decent amount about how we prep for stuff like this nowadays, right?
Yeah.
And our thought process has changed over the last couple of years. as
Oh,
we said
yeah.
before.
Which makes me wonder. I'm like, have we turned into con snobs now? Like,
A little bit, right? I mean, especially you and me.
yeah.
I know this for sure because obviously we're bitching about it on the drive back home to Jersey, right? We're just like, oh man, like this sucked, or like, oh, this was cool because this very specific thing that no one else cares about, but
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
We're like, this thing was made so much easier this year. Love it. No one else is gonna think about that stuff,
Yeah.
but us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people who go to conventions on a regular, or at least one convention every year that we notice these minor changes, right? We
Yeah.
notice that stuff. And again, because we're in a we have some of our other friends who are even more specific because they do the merch stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like for us, we just kind of realize the creature comforts that are better for people who are relatively casual, but are like veterans of a convention. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how we
Yeah.
see it.
And that's also why, like, I love bringing first timers. Like, I think I've done it pretty much almost every year where I'll bring somebody new. Hey, I've never been to Comic Con. Like, let's go. I got you.
Yeah. Especially seeing them, they're like kind of like how they like react to the first time of being there, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember seeing your sister, like was like, oh, there's a lot of stuff here, but this is pretty cool. Like the
Yeah.
energy is like definitely like a new thing that you're not used to,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like sick. This is kind of awesome. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And then you see you see our friends like starting to get worn down throughout the day. And they're like yeah, it happens. Every first time is like it happens. We get
Yeah.
it. Like you if you need a moment to go find a quiet corner and chill for a bit. You know what I mean?
Oh, and that's actually one of the other tips that we got to bring up. Like, yeah, if your feet are hurting, you need some time away. Pick a panel. Go into like a less traffic
Oh,
panel.
yeah.
Sit in the back. Put your feet up. Rest for a bit. And who knows? You might get some free merch or
Yeah,
might see
that's-
something interesting.
That's
Yeah.
a cool thing. Yeah, absolutely. Also, I've been noticing a lot more in conventions recently. They usually have a quiet area now. I'll go to like the game corner. You know what I mean? The board game area. It's a little more quiet because it's not as busy, but it's people buying like dice and tabletop accessories and stuff like that. That's cool. There's still a whole section for people who do that stuff specifically, but it's also much quieter than the main floor.
Mhm.
And you can also usually sit down.
Yep.
There's usually chairs. there's nothing wrong with tapping out for like 10 minutes or
Yeah.
15, 20 minutes if you need to recharge, especially if you're like an introvert,
Yeah.
like a hardcore introvert.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm introverted, and like I don't like crowds. It's like it's genuinely exhausting for me to be in a crowd for like a whole day,
Oh yeah.
and I'm like I hate people by the end, but like especially for me, especially because I usually do 2 or 3 days in a row,
Yeah.
right? By the second or third day, I'm like I don't want to be around people ever again for the next, like I'm talking hyperbole here, obviously, right? But it's like
Yeah.
get the fuck away from me. You know what I mean? It's like I'm so tired of people. So it's like I need to be away from people for a little bit, just so that way I make sure I don't just like start getting cranky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a big thing for me.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's in most conventions now there's like a quiet area, like a dedicated quiet area, or like you can usually find the quieter areas. Like a lot of the like the nerdier like the nerdy conventions like again New York Comic Con, stuff like that. Kotaku Con. What's the one in Maryland? The one at the Gaylord Hotel. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot what it is.
Is that Kotaku Con? It might be Kotaku Con, right?
It might be. It might be. Yeah.
Yeah. Otaku Con. Sorry, what the fuck am I talking about? Otaku. Yeah, it might be Otaku Con. A lot of them have like a quiet area or like a board game area or like a tabletop or a video game area type of deal. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So like it's kind of cool. Like they just let you like play stuff there for a bit and just kind of. It's funny because that area will be quieter. Again, there's like tables and chairs to sit down on and just chill for a bit. There's nothing wrong with tapping out for like 10, 20, 30 minutes just to recharge yourself and before you hit the floor again.
Right.
And
I mean, yeah, because dude, you know me. I'm an extrovert, and
yeah,
it's
you,
to the point
you
where
love being around.
Yeah.
You love like the bustling energy of it.
yeah,
It's fun for me for like the first like little bit for me, and then I'm like, okay, I need to
yeah,
focus in and try to drown things out for me.
yeah. And even me, like as a severe extrovert, like even times I'm like, I need to just close my eyes. My eyes have seen too much. Just give me like a time power nap if possible.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird because like we're at a convention that's so damn loud, and we find a way to just take a 5-minute nap in a corner.
Yep.
It's so strange, but we'll do it. Especially if we need to. Like,
Yeah.
Like that second day, usually we're running on like very little sleep to begin with. That's a big thing for us.
yeah, yeah, because you're running the adrenaline, and yeah, that's another area where the panels are super clutch. Like, you go to a panel, and then like, yeah, it's kind of funny. I've knocked out in panels that like I actually wanted to go to.
Yeah,
it
no, I
happens.
get you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess let's start wrapping up here, and we'll talk about the end of the day stuff, right? Again, how you kind of do your stuff, right?
Yeah.
As we mentioned before, we're gonna expand on a little bit more now, right? For us, we've stopped traveling into the city via public transport. We don't do it anymore. We're old.
Yeah.
We're veterans. We can't do this anymore, right? Our friends still do it. Good for
Yeah.
them. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm an adult. I have money now.
Yeah.
I'll throw money at the project and at the issue to not have that issue anymore.
I mean, especially since we threw money, like tons of money already at the con, like getting like a bunch
paying
of stuff.
paying $80 for parking. I will gladly do that, so I don't have to walk through New York with a fuck ton of bags. I will gladly do that nowadays.
Especially if we're splitting that cost.
Yeah, exactly. So like we mentioned before, we ride together into the city now. I'll drive up to Jeff's place. He lives north of me, so he's closer to the city, right? Go to his place. We'll like prep at his house, and then go into the city from there. And we'll usually take his car. His car's a little bit bigger than mine, or we take turns.
Well, it's not about how big it is; it's how you use it.
Yeah, exactly. But we're trying to be like fair. You know what I mean? Like you drove this year. You drove the first day. I drove the second day. Just to be fair.
Yeah.
And luckily my car has a big enough trunk that if we did a bunch of shopping the second day, we could still easily just toss it in. We're like move along kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why that's also nice is like at the end of the day we have as I said before merch. There's a lot of merch. It's also like if you're with friends who are not from the area. Again, for us, we're talking specifically about New York, but this covers for anywhere else, right? It's nice to have your car if you want to grab a bite to eat afterwards.
Yeah.
And you're not just trying to tap out right away. Like, was it the last Comic Con 2022? We went to Fort Lee. We grabbed was it like a burger and like dessert right afterwards?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Like, 'cause we were like we wanted a bite to eat. We could find like a local-ish spot to you, right?
Mhm.
And just like chilled afterwards.
Yep.
Which is nice, right? And then they're like previous years, 2021. We went to Koreatown.
Was it 20? Yeah. Because that was the same year that we did
The Harry Potter cosplays.
the Harry Potter.
Yeah. And that was my Uncle Iroh costume.
Yep.
So like we instead of us walking across the city just to go back to Koreatown, which at least if you're taking the train back back to Jersey, it's right there.
Yeah.
Which is nice. But like if you're carrying a bunch of stuff, you still don't want to take that walk. Like walking from the Javits Center back to Penn Station is still like a 15-20 minute walk.
Yeah.
if you're fast. I'm a slow walker. But then, go back to Koreatown, you're still in, especially for me, it's like I didn't want to be in costume anymore. So at least I can take off like the top layer of my costume, look more, a little more regular, when we go
Yeah.
into a restaurant to grab a bite to eat. So, if you have, if I get it, if you don't have like a vehicle, or if it's it's not within your budget to pay for parking,
Mhm.
I get it perfectly fine. You take public transport. You just deal with like the annoyances of like the public transport, right?
Just know what you're getting into.
Know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Again, like there was a couple years where I remember like we walked back with our Kuya Norm and at the Jose's, right? We walked back from Javits Center back to Penn Station.
Carrying massive bags.
Each of us, all three of us, carrying a book bag and 2 massive bags under each arm.
And when we're talking about massive, we're talking about like we're not talking like like big tote bags. We're talking like huge, like you're moving houses.
Yeah, like this, like the bag itself is like I don't know, maybe like 2.5 feet wide, like 3-4 feet tall.
I mean,
like,
you could fit a body in there.
Yeah, like
maybe even 2.
Yeah, it's like it's like 4. It's a 4 foot tall bag. You're supposed to. The whole point of it is you put it on your over your shoulder.
Yep.
Like you're carrying like a bunch of merch, and if you're taking the train back, you're the jerk, kind of eating up all that space. You know what I mean? Especially at the end of the night, it's kind of busy in New York. It's like it's annoying. It's annoying to be carrying all that stuff. At least if you bring your own car, if you have the means to do it, I would say do that. You know what I mean? Again, especially if you can ride together with people, split the cost. Why not, right?
And it's also fun.
It's also fun because it's a much more relaxed experience, especially for some, especially at the end of the night if you don't want to talk to anybody anymore, or not deal with people anymore. You can like, okay, I'm back in like the isolation of my car.
Yeah,
it's nice to have that back again. You know what I mean? That's the big thing for us. End of convention. Do you usually try to hit up any booths at the end of the night before you dip out?
Definitely. And actually, that's one thing that we do want to talk about too, because there, maybe it is a myth because, someone said that, at the end of the day, especially on say like Sunday or end of Saturday, there are booths trying to get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
And remember like, I think it was you, me, Maynard, and like some other people, I think Ray also, we were trying to get a discount on some art prints and the guy just wouldn't budge. And we're like, wow, we waited.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
we waited till the end of the day to do it. I'm like, we could just got in the beginning and
just got it over with and not have to wait for this dude. Yeah,
because the price was the same.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, like, it's like some people, some artists who bring. Obviously, if you're vending at Artist Alley, you're bringing your own stuff, right? Sometimes they're like, I'm not gonna be here the next day. Say they're only there for like the first 2 days, right?
Yeah.
They want to move as much stuff those first 2 days. If they're still gonna get some money on it, they'll just do a discount on you sometimes. Other times they're just like, they don't budge on it. It's whatever, right? Some booths will have like item limits.
Yes.
The first couple days, especially the first couple days. If they didn't move as much merch as they initially thought they were going to, sometimes the merch limit gets reduced or raised at the end of the day, end of the night, right?
Yeah. I mean, you looked at one year with the Nendroids, right?
Yeah, New York Comic Con or Anime NYC. They had a couple Nendroids that I really wanted. I wanted 3, one for me, one for a friend, and one I was gonna open and like mess around with, and you can see it over there in my collection. So like I was able to buy 3 without because before the limit was 1 per person, and I was like, that sucks because now that means I have to go here again the next day to try to get another one. Hopefully they don't sell out. But luckily the first night they didn't move a whole lot, so I was able to buy all 3 myself. Like, cool, done. I don't have to worry about this anymore tomorrow. Yeah. So like if you're trying to go for an exclusive figure for yourself or whatever, try to swing by that booth later in the day, because they will try to allocate stuff throughout the day, so it's not all just sold out in the beginning of the day. Basically, they know that people are like fiending at the beginning of the convention day. They try to spread things out now.
Yep.
But it's worth a shot, right? It's
Yeah.
always like at least try at the end of the day, see if anyone anything left over. And especially like talk to the people who run the booths, because some people are really, really nice. They'll like hold one for, especially if they recognize you. They'll like recognize you. Oh yeah, we'll hold one for you. You know what I mean? They're not supposed to, but if you make friends and you're genuinely just trying to get something for yourself, some people are nice. Most people are especially if you're working the convention. People are nice there. Come on now. Hands-on events. That's another thing too. Most of those things will be busy throughout the middle of the day. If so, hands-on stuff like what was it? Sony was there a couple years ago where they had like the Predator game.
Oh yeah,
that was busy during the beginning of the middle of the day, especially because everyone started rolling around lunchtime, right?
Yep.
My friend was there. He was working for Sony at the time, and he was saying like, yeah, you gotta get here super early or try to come by at the end of the night where the crowds start to thin out. And it was like one of those ones again. It was like hands-on interactive events, try to go at the beginning or the end. During that like lunchtime, like 12 to like 3 o'clock rush. Yeah, unless you have 3 hours to burn waiting in line, spend your time doing more fun stuff. Don't waste it in line, in my opinion.
Yeah, like imagine like you're paying for your time to be there, and like 3 hours you spent online. You go do some other stuff and then come back.
See if you get lucky.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Exactly.
Like, there's certain times. That also works for merch too. Sometimes like a swarm of people will be there early on, and then like an hour, 2 hours later, the crowd kind of cleared out, and then you can kind of just like sneak into line real quick. You know what I mean? Like, oh, cool. Like 10, 15-minute wait versus a 2 hour wait is way better.
Right.
Like, sure, you risk selling out early on, but at least like I don't feel like I wasted like an hour or two waiting for something and getting screwed out of it anyway.
Exactly.
That's
That's definitely happened to us.
Yeah.
At which point, like, if you are going to do that and get in line, like, go with your friends if they can, unless you got, like, splitting up in, like,
you're splitting up your focus of attack. If one person tries to grab these, you're grabbing these for everybody else type of deal. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But like, there's perfectly times where I was like, we'll just hang out in line. But I'm not in a rush to do anything right now anyway, so screw it. I'll just hang out while you're in line, basically.
Exactly, yeah. If you can, stay till the end and maybe a little bit afterwards, make some friends, go check out some stuff. People are packing up, but then like you get to see some things that you would be far too crowded, in the middle of the day.
Yeah. And also like a lot of conventions are starting to have like post convention events too.
Oh yeah. Like the after parties.
Yeah, like there's like after parties, there's what is it? There's like a nerd karaoke thing a couple years ago, which was pretty cool. There's the costume contest, like the cosplay contest. Those are usually done afterwards at like a stage after the main convention's closed already. Yeah, stuff like that. There's a lot more stuff other than just like the main convention that you should be like checking out for.
Right.
Yeah. But I think that's all really that I got. Anything for you?
I mean, to sum up, going to a con, think of it as almost like a choose your adventure or like an in-person physical real life RPG. Figure out what character class you want to play. You want to go shopping, you want to go look at stuff, you want to do a blend of things, you want to go check out panels, figure out what you want to do and then, go and enjoy it that way and, know what you're in for.
Yeah, you have a side quest. You realize, oh, I should probably wait for this thing. That's your side quest.
Exactly.
Stuff like that. Yeah, like you have your main things that you want to see and pick up, figure it out. And then, like, see some cool stuff along the way. That's how I see it. Because going in also with no game plan is, like, it's fun. Like not having to worry about anything.
Mm-hmm.
But then I always feel like I miss something.
I mean, it really depends. Because, especially, like, first-timers. Go in and then maybe, like, figure out a couple things that you want to do. Yeah, a couple
like
major
two
things.
or three major things you want to do.
Yeah.
And then everything else is free-for-all.
Exactly. Enjoy the open world.
Yeah. But like if you're a veteran and you have specific things you want to do, then obviously you're going to be more structured in how you want to take on a convention, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be it for us on this episode. Again, it's a little bit different from the usual stuff. It's kind of just us shooting the shit this time. Again, I just came back from a convention and I got to see like how I want to go about it. So, and I was just thinking about it, like how does everyone else kind of go about it? Because me and my friend Tim, who I went to PAX with, we look at conventions differently. So it's like, how does everyone else like take a look at like how they want to attack convention and like see what they want to see, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a more casual topic for us to just like shoot the shit on and talk about how, at least how we think you should be doing conventions. Again, do them however you want, but this is the way for you to think about it.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's kind of cool because, like, the RPG aspect, like, it's kind of funny from your last episode when you were talking about, what was it, Kingdom of Amalur? Yeah. It's funny how you mentioned, like, you wanted to go in, what would you do if you were able to do it over again? And, it's kind of funny. I see the families going and bring their kid, and I'm like, that's going to be me one of these days.
Yeah, so, you're gonna have to go about it in a different experience the next time you go there at some point. Yeah. You're and at that point you're no longer doing the typical waiting in line thing because it's a family event at that point.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I am not sniping when I'm bringing the kid. Because once again, it's an RPG. It grows with you. You have a different experience, and then either way, figure out how you want to enjoy it. Figure out how you want to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out again for this episode. Again, this is an extra episode that we don't usually do like too many extra episodes, but I feel like this was a good time to have an extra episode here going on. So if you go ahead and give us a like, rate us 5 stars on every platform. Again, we're on most streaming platforms anyway: Spotify, Google, Apple, all the other good stuff. Right? Leave us a review, share with us with a friend. We'd appreciate the support. Take care. Okay, so we have some other news coming up in the next upcoming weeks as well too. Jeff, you want to go ahead and let the information out there?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and be somebody's dad here in a couple of days. So
Let's go, Papa Jeff.
yeah. So that's happening relatively soon. At the very least, by April, I am going to be somebody's father. So you're gonna hear as much of me as I possibly can. You're gonna see as much of me as I possibly can be around. But just know that I'm gonna be somebody's dad here coming up pretty soon. So
Real busy.
yeah, I'll be a little busy.
Yeah. That being said, you are still going to be in charge of at least your side of the socials and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I'm not going completely zero dark 30. So if you do miss me, you can say hi on the Twitter page. I'll be there, and hopefully on the YouTube. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and
I keep saying that I'm gonna do something and then I don't. So
yeah,
we'll
and
see.
so with Jeff going to be doing a little bit of stepping away from the plate a little bit here. We have some other friends coming in, filling in possibly for some episodes. We already have episodes with me and Jeff still lined up already, but we may have a couple of other friends of mine hopping on. I know for sure Jeff's not going to be gone. Jeff and I have already kind of scheduled in some other stuff as what we want to be doing specifically for in the next couple months as well too. There's a very special episode that me and Jeff have to be on, and we refuse to let that go by.
Hell yeah.
Jeff's not going away completely. He's gonna be taking a step away for a little bit while we have a couple friends fill in. And I'm like, I swear, like they're coming in to fill in for Jeff and take and help out for a bit. Again, they're not replacing him. They're helping out, and I've got some really fun conversations with them already lined up, and some of them have already been recorded, and I'm really enjoying having another set of friends here to also really just talk about stuff that we're all nerds about, basically.
For sure. Yeah, you can't get rid of me that easy.